Hello, I'm Freddie Levett from Ofwat, the water regulator in England and Wales.
And I'm Margareta Sheffield-Mataru, also from Ofwat. Welcome to Spark, our digital innovation channel. At Spark, we're meeting experts in innovation and new thinking from a range of sectors and industries.
We're asking them to showcase their experience and knowledge and inspire the water sector to go further.
Last week, we found out how organisations can look within themselves to create Spark.
And this week, we're looking at how organisations can look beyond themselves, collaborating with others to innovate. So, how can you make sparks fly, and why would you want to? We took a closer look. Increasingly, many organisations are looking to collaborate to innovate. But why? First, we spoke to one of the UK's biggest and most well-known retailers.
Innovation can only be done these days in partnership. Now, of course, we're always trying to win in the marketplace. There'll always be things that we seek to do first and foremost ourselves. But more and more, we'll only become a truly sustainable business and a sustainable society and economy if everybody around us moves in the same direction as well. So to me, there are two types of collaboration. One is that whole sector change, and we do work very closely with something called the Consumer Goods Forum. It brings together all the world's food and drink companies, the Coca-Colas, the Pepsis, the Walmarts, the Tesco's, the Unilevers, the Nestle's, the M&S's and Sainsbury's, huge competitors, but very clear on certain sustainability issues such as deforestation, food waste, low carbon refrigeration. None of us can solve those issues alone. Even Walmart, 25 times bigger than market expensive. So we need to be very humble there. So that works very well on the huge scale. You drive change across the entire marketplace, thousands of companies and suppliers. And then there's more one-on-one collaborations where you probably want a little bit more of a point of difference, a little bit ahead of the marketplace, but you're not trying to bring your competitors into the tent. You're working with other external organisations.
That was Marks & Spencer. Is it the same for major infrastructure providers?
Tideway is the infrastructure company building a new super sewer beneath London.
In order to innovate, you've got to actually look elsewhere, look outside, sometimes look within yourself to actually how you can actually change the way that you're thinking and apply, make yourself available to be challenged.
I3P, the Infrastructure Industry Innovation Platform, and we've just had an I3P forum session with 26 members around the table, so that's 9 key clients and supply chain as well. And what we've just seen is a huge amount of progress in the year, a huge amount of enthusiasm, the emergence of common themes that we all recognise as important to work on, but critically important to work on together. So rather than all sat in our own little spaces innovating away, why don't we frame the common question, and then why don't we put our resources together to make more progress, and that's what's happening.
So those are the views of large companies. But what about smaller companies?
BioBean recycles coffee waste into biofuel. None of what we do would be possible if we were operating in isolation. From the start, setting up collaborative and mutually beneficial partnerships with waste management companies and logistics companies was crucial. We've worked with Costa Coffee since 2016, and this collaboration really enabled us to scale up production of our solid fuel products. It also opened the door to lots of other opportunities for BioBean. We also owe some of our success to organisations such as Shell, which has supported us through a number of initiatives over the last 4 years. These collaborations are what make our business model not only environmentally, but also commercially sustainable.
The Future Water Association is a not-for-profit membership organisation for suppliers to the water sector.
Probably 3/4 of water company outputs are delivered through the supply chain. So as they look forward, they need to look at doing things differently. They need to look at the culture within which they operate. And the supply chain's at the heart of that. It brings in these ideas, it helps them meet their challenges going forward, it helps them engage on a broader level with the public. So I think supply chain is critical to that innovation process at the utility level. But on a company by company basis, they may face things that are maybe different to them, or maybe not unique to them, but different to their circumstances. And there it's essential to be talking to the supply chain about what those challenges are, what they need to tackle, what they need to look at. So it becomes a collaborative approach. It becomes, well, we may not have the solution in the supply chain, but we can work with you to develop that solution. or actually we don't just work in the water sector, we work across other sectors. Did you know that in oil or gas or electricity, they're doing this to tackle that problem? And I think the supply chain's knowledge and experience is essential.
So should larger companies and smaller ones look to work together more? What about an organisation who's built around fostering collaboration? What do they think?
The Manufacturing Technology Centre, MTC, is an independent research and technology organisation that works with academics and private industry.
So collaboration with externals helps any business as far as I'm concerned. Whenever it comes to innovation, having a fresh pair of eyes, bringing in another person's opinion always helps improve this. The challenges in manufacturing are always the same. We want to make the part to a better quality, we want to make it faster, or we want to make it cheaper. And once you realise that's the case for all manufacturing applications and engineering challenges, it's very much common ground you're working on. So what you need to do, as far as I'm concerned, is understand the problem to the best of your ability. And this is normally where it's great to have some external input from the likes of the MTC or even members in your supply chain. Get them to help you understand your problem, which you may misinterpret by being so close to it. Understand it better, understand what's available, maybe not in your sector, knowledge transfer from elsewhere, bring that across, and then replicate. And what's important though is not just copying what another sector has done, but tailoring it so it's specific to your business and your application to get the best out of any innovation that you're doing.
Really interesting examples of organisations learning from and collaborating with each other.
But what if you went one further and actively involved customers and communities in how you innovate? We went to find out more.
Many sectors are now working directly with customers to innovate and deliver their businesses. But why?
Dr. Kat Austin is an artist, researcher, designer and community engagement specialist.
We have to think of people as engaged citizens, and that's actually something that can be leveraged, and in doing so it can give us a lot of benefit. Touching people emotionally can provide an extra level of understanding and motivation and sympathy with the world that I think is really important if we're going to live in a resilient and sustainable manner. One of the things that I think is really important, and particularly when you're bridging between civic and commercial partners, is to consider the agency of the people who are using a service or resource, as well as beyond the fact that they are purchasing something, you know, and particularly with resources like water, it's really important to consider the fact that it's also in some ways a communal and dispersed resource.
Flipper is an energy retail service that continually switches customers to their best deals.
For me, if you're going to innovate and do something different, you have to have the customer voice within that, both to spark the ideas to start with so that you can react to things, but also so that you can test and try things and listen to the feedback, because it's that feedback that will drive you to create the end product or service or whatever it is that you're going to produce. So for me, it's 100% key, and I wouldn't consider, I guess if the team were to put a plan in front of the board, then I know that the first thing we would be looking at is, what do customers say about this? You know, what's the indication customers have given us that they want this change, for instance. So for me, it's absolutely key.
And it's taken on board all the feedback. I think generally you look for the customers who have provided sometimes negative feedback to look to see why we can change. But for us, we research all our customers, so we want to know the customers even enjoying the service, what would be the next step for that customer, because that customer is always looking for a business now to change and up their game. And each year we want to be providing the customers which is kind of the next level of our service that we can do, and we're always looking to change.
The British Library is the National Library of the United Kingdom.
So the labs was set up about 5 years ago, and it was a project which was externally funded generously funded by the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation. And the purpose of the labs was very much about focusing on getting our primary audience, which are researchers, to experiment with the library's digital collections and data. So that was pretty much, in essence, what the project was about. we want people to do things with our digital collections and data. So the first thing that we have to do is we need to spend quite a bit of time focusing on what we actually had, so that we could then tell the world what we have to then encourage them to use it. And at the beginning we had a sort of bit of a chicken and egg situation because we didn't really have many examples of usage. So what we decided to do was to run an international competition where we presented a list of collections and digital collections and data, and we asked anyone in the world to come up with innovative ideas of what they might want to do with it. Part of the deal of signing up to the competition was that if you didn't win, you still had to make your idea public. And that was, for us, an easy way to start to build lots of examples of things that people wanted to do. So in a way, it was kind of giving us free research and development.
So it's worth looking beyond your company, your sector, and even your own competitive instincts to work with other companies to innovate.
Yes, and you can also work with customers and communities, because they are the people who will actually tell you what they really want.
So that brings us to the end of this week's episode of Spark. A big thank you to all of our contributors. You can catch the full interviews with each of them on YouTube over the coming week.
We'd love it if you could share your thoughts on anything you've seen or heard. In particular, what are the barriers to organizations collaborating and how do you overcome them?
You can send us your views on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and through emails. But don't forget to use our hashtag.
On Friday, we'll be bringing you a live sum up of the best bits on Periscope, a live streaming tool on Twitter, and interview a very special guest. And coming up next week, we look at why it is necessary for organizations to innovate in an increasingly complex and uncertain world. So that's it from us for now.
It's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.